Hey, welcome to the Red Hot Phil Steele Plus Tour with selections. Do you know over the last 9 weeks of the regular season, the free selections given out here are now 30 and 14. Another nice 4-2 week last week on the actual selections. Now, the quick hitters last week went 1-2. Over that same 9-week span, the quick hitters are 17 and 15. But the overall selections, and by the way, 17 and 15, that's still a winning percentage, but still 30 and 14 over the last 9 weeks of the regular season for these free plays. Let's have another big winning week this week. And as you can tell by your screen, we've got the side-by-sides back up again. And the beautiful thing about this, it's just like having the magazine, except it's better because it's updated each week, color-coded in green and red. And remember, the purpose of the Phil Steele Tour is to show you how to use Phil Steele Plus to its fullest. Hopefully we get that accomplished today. I show you all the features, but also to deliver you some big winners. And speaking of winners, hey, how about Eastern Michigan? Delivered for us again last week. They were an underdog, way underdog at UMass. You guys know the drill. You make Eastern Michigan an away underdog, we're going to use them. Take a look at the box score on that game. And by the way, thank you to collegepressbox.com for allowing us to post the box scores on each and every game. I not only watch all 12 games that I'm watching all day long, but I go through the play-by-play of each and every game. And this Eastern Michigan game, look at this. It was 28-7, and then UMass went down and got a late score to make it 28-14. So the game was never in doubt. We had a super easy winner on the tour last week with Eastern Michigan. And actually, I'm coming right back with them again. If you click up here under the last 10 years straight up in ATS results, and I'll move it over here a little bit, once again, you know how they do as an away dog. If you take it all the way back to here, 2016, add it all up, Eastern Michigan is 28-9 as an away dog the last 9 years. So you got to love that. I also like the fact here that Washington has practically a brand new team from last year. Yes, they did beat Weber State, but only beat them by 32, and they're laying 25 here to a better Eastern Michigan team. One that last week, Cole Snyder is an upgraded quarterback, by the way, for Eastern. Last year they got uneven QB play. I think Cole Snyder is going to give them better QB play this year, and defensively they played pretty well. But Washington's got this game on deck, the Apple Cup. Normally the Apple Cup's at the end of the year, huge game. The Apple Cup is being played next week. So you've got Washington looking ahead to the Apple Cup. You've got Eastern Michigan, a great away dog. And one thing I also want to point out, look at this. Eastern Michigan last week played to a 93.9 grade. Now, the average game grade, I love it, and I use it religiously. This tells you how the game was played. It takes into account the strength of the opponent, where the game was played, and the stats for the game, as well as the final score. Washington last week beat Weber State by 32. That earned a 96 grade. Eastern Michigan earned a 93 grade. And Washington here is laying 25 points. I'm going to take Eastern Michigan plus 25 points as your angle play of the week. And I want to remind you, if we go to the homepage here, how to get into Phil Steele Plus and get to this schedule. Just go to my account here. Click on my account, and when we do that, there we go. We're going to view my online products, and when you view my online products, you hit Phil Steele Plus Access, and boom, you're into the menu. And when you get to the menu, that is what you're looking for each week right here. This is your guide, FBS, FCS, NFL information. It's all there. FCS, you get team pages on every single team. Become an instant expert on them. You also get spreads. And unfortunately, so far this week, it's Thursday morning when I record this. There are no lines on the FBS versus FCS games, so I'm not going to have any FBS, FCS plays here on the tour. If you are if you're an Inside the Press Box member, what we're going to do is this. I might send you out a Saturday morning if we have any best bets in the FBS versus FCS games. I'll shoot those your way Saturday morning. The Inside the Press Box newsletter is going to be delivered on Thursday, but with no lines, we won't have any best bets, but I'll put those out for you Saturday morning if we have any best bets for you. So keep that in mind if you're there, an FBS or Inside the Press Box member. All right, let's get to your second game. And this is a game I'm going to call Series Control. And Wake Forest is at home. So let's go ahead and get Wake Forest from the ACC, put them on the right. They're at home. There's your Wake Forest page. Let's get your Virginia page. They are the visitor. They are on the left. Both teams are improved this year, no doubt about it. And a couple things I want to point out about this game. First of all, if you come down here and you click on the opponent, you get the last 27 years matchups. And one thing I want to point out to you here is Wake Forest has controlled this series. Look at this. Now, the score of the game is color-coded green and red. If they won the game, it's in green. So you do not have to look at the score. You know that they won the last 5 years. Here, this is the spread, and this tells you they were plus 5.5. They won by 20. They were plus 2. They won by 17. They were minus 3. They won by 20. Plus 3.5. They won by 6. Minus 3.5. They won by 11. You don't even have to do that math in your head. If it's green, they covered. If it's red, they did not cover. So keep that in mind. At a glance, you can tell they've covered the last 5, won the last 5 straight up in the series. So Wake's done extremely well in the series. I also think Wake last year, they always have an explosive pass attack, right? Well, last year, their pass attack struggled, and it was because they were depleted at receiver. Well, this year, Donovan Green, who was injured now for the year, last year, prior to the season, is back. They've got Taylor Marin back. They've got the receivers. They've got Claiborne at running back. And Hank Bachmeier last week, I should say, didn't start. But what I want to show you here is when you go through the play-by-play, you go to the drive-by-drive. Look what happened. Bachmeier's first drive, I think, was a punt, but then touchdown, field goal, touchdown, 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 and then they just ran out the clock. So they scored on 5 of 6 possessions, their final 6 possessions of the game with Bachmeier at the QB position. Bachmeier hit 18 of 28, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So Wake's offense is rolling. Use those play-by-plays. I use them religiously. 5 scores on the last 5 drives with Bachmeier at quarterback. 5-0 straight up in the series. We're going to use Wake Forest. They're only laying 1.5 here. I think they should definitely be over a 3-point favorite. We're going to take Wake Forest minus 1.5 over Virginia. It's a series control play. So we had an angle play of the week on Eastern Michigan, plus 25. A series control play on Wake Forest, minus 1.5. One thing I want to point out to you here, let's go to 2024 stats, my tour files, and we're going to enter this file. Let's go to my tour special. And if you like what you see, I offered this special last week. I'm going to keep it up again this week on the Phil Steele Plus tour. You get access to my FBS pages, college pages, FCS, and the NFL pages, 24 weeks of access. And this is what I use. This is how I handicap. I put all my information on my Phil Steele Plus, and I share it with you. You get the same thing. I have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars maintaining and putting up these stats. You get it all. It's regular price $99. Take $10 off right now. Use the code EXPERTWINS. You have access to Phil Steele Plus. $89 is just $3.71 per week. That's less than the price of a beer, guys. $3.71 a week for 24 weeks. $89 right now at Expert Wins. Just go to the homepage here. When you go to the homepage of philsteele.com, go to the store. And when you go to the store, you're going to click on Phil Steele Plus. Type in that code. You get $10 off. It's right here. Is Phil Steele Plus. I'm not going to take you to the store. I'm going to show you later inside the press box single issue. This is where you buy it. I'm going to give you a code for that in a little bit. But use the store to get to the inside the press box or that. All right, so let's get back to our team pages here on Phil Steele Plus. There we go. And we're going to go to team pages. And let's get to the next game. The next game, game number 3, is my surprise series. This one surprised me a little bit when I was doing the work on it. It's Temple against Navy. We're going to put Navy on the right. And Temple on the left. Now, Temple sucks, right? We know that. Look at last year. Look at all this red. They suck. Navy beat Bucknell 49-21. I like what I saw of them last week. They look good. Navy's a 13-point favorite. Obvious, right? Play Navy. Not so fast, my friend. Let's take a look at this series control. When we pop this up, Look at what's happened the last 2 years. And you take a look at what the defensive yards of Temple against Navy, the last 5 years have all been good. But the last 2 years, under their new head coach, their new head coach is Stan Drayton. They allowed 224 yards and 12 first downs, 268 yards and 13 first downs to the Navy option. In fact, last year they beat them 32-18. You look at this Temple team and all this red, but look at this green. 32-18. They had a 448 to 268 yard edge. They know how to defend the option. That's one thing Stan Drayton has done well in his first 2 years. It's been a struggle. He's in a rebuilding process, trying to do a good job here. But look at this, Navy. Once again, they had the number one performance against Navy, and that's what this number means out here, guys. This tells you where their ranking was in the entire season. The 224 yards, they held Navy to a season low. They held them to 112 yards below their season average. They lost the game by 7 at Navy, but they actually had a yardage edge by 64 yards. So that's what this number is, and it tells you what they held them to. Like here, they allowed UCF 288 yards above their season average. It was the worst performance of the year, any defense against UCF, but the best performance of any team against Navy. And then last year, they held Navy to 35 yards below their season average and just 268 yards per game. So they know how to defend the option. I like that. And if you take a look at the first week, they lost to Oklahoma 51-3. But look, they earned a 91.7 grade. They actually held Oklahoma to 378 yards. That's not bad. Oklahoma's explosive. 378 yards they held them to. They did put up 197 yards. So overall, it wasn't a bad performance. And my average game grade doesn't look at the final score. It looks at your opponent. It looks at the yards rushing, yards passing, both offense and defense, and the final score, and gave them a 91.7 game grade. Now, Navy was expected to do wonders against Bucknell, and they did. They beat them 49-21, but they only earned an average game grade of 70.7. So Temple's comes in with a better average game grade, series dominating history. This one surprised me. I wasn't expecting it, and then let's clinch it a little bit further. You've got this in your magazine, but you can also look it up right here. How does Navy do as a home favorite? In the last 4 years, they've been a home favorite 6 times. They're 1-5 against the spread. So you have a poor home favorite. The AGG likes it. The series likes it. I'm going to take Temple plus 13 over Navy as my surprise series play. All right, another quick note for you inside the press box. And the battle is on. There are 72 games this week, by the way, and it says issue 1. Todd didn't change that. It's issue 2 here. We knew that, but that's all right. The battle is on. It's probably my fault. I was standing over his shoulder as he did it. But last year my computer beat me, all right? It aggravates me. My computer got red hot down the stretch and beat me overall on the season. Well, this year I'm beating the computer. I'm 4-1, but my computer's right there. It's 3-1 on the best bets this year. Computer's on a 19-8 run the last 10 weeks. I've got 5 inside the press box plays this week. My computer's got 4 inside the press box best bet plays. We'll see who wins, but the bottom line is you get the winners. Already, if you're an Inside the Press Box member, you're 7-2 this year on your best bets. And last week I gave a $15 discount, or a $5 discount down to $15 for a single issue. I'm going to do the same thing again this week. I'm a little superstitious, so if it worked last week, let's keep it rolling. I love going with the big winning plays. So you could get this week's single issue. It's regular $20, just $15. All you have to do is type "Battle is on." It's me against the computer. So far, we're a combined 7-2. Let's have another big winning week this week. 9 big best bets this week. And like I said, if there are FBS versus FCS ones later, we'll put those up on Saturday. Just go to the Phil Steele store, click on that single issue, type in "Battle is on." You get $5 off. Get this week's single issue right now on the Inside the Press Box. All right, so let's get to our next game. In our next game, hey, let's go talk NFL for a second before I get to the next game. And when we go to the NFL, I do want to remind you that on the homepage, what I did is if you go to the homepage, now this is if you're not a FBS, you can click on the daily blog here. And when you click on the daily blog, you're going to get the blog archives. And when you go to blog archives, it takes a look like this. where you can go back and take a look at all the different blogs that we've put up. I did a whole bunch of NFL metrics articles, NFL finding value, NFL YPP, NFL stock market indicator, close wins, close losses, turnovers, turnaround, AGG updated. All these are updated right now. But I broke it down for you here, and I'm going to give you an NFL play off of this. Here is my NFL most improved page. And what I did is I did all those articles, and then I color-coded them green and red. And like here's your turnovers equals turnaround. You're familiar with that. If you're minus double-digit turnovers one year, you have a better record the next year. If you're positive double-digit turnovers one year, you have a worse record the next year. So I color-coded green and red. The red qualified for the article. The green qualified for the article. You can see the teams that are all lit up in green here. And here's the teams that are all lit up in red. Now, the thing I found, if you're going to play the NFL this weekend, you might take a look at this. I found that the teams, especially the first 4 weeks of the year, if you take a team up here in the green, like Atlanta, for example, they're playing Pittsburgh. Atlanta's got a lot of positive indicators going for it. Pittsburgh was like the luckiest team in the NFL to get to 10-7 last year. They were minus yards per game. They had the turnovers, they had close wins, close losses, everything against them. They're right down here at the bottom. So I'm going to take this Atlanta green team against a Pittsburgh red team early in the year when there's people are still valued on last year's final record. Remember last year Atlanta was 7-10, Pittsburgh was 10-7, but Atlanta was better than 7-10. Pittsburgh was worse than 10-7. We're going to go with Atlanta -3 over Pittsburgh. Go ahead, view this chart, giving it to you free right here on the tour. Make a picture of the chart, take a picture, see how it does. Let's take these green teams, go against these red teams early in the year. And if you want to go in depth on those articles, just go to my daily blogs. They're all right there. So, and the NFL team pages, once again, we'll take a look at those real quick. Now, they're not updated for this year because nobody's played. But you could still get in the NFL. You want to know how the teams have done against the spread? Look at this. Straight up, home, away, ATS, home favorite, home dog, away favorite, dog. How do they do as a favorite? How they do as a dog? How they do in the division? How they do non-division? If they scored less than 10, scored 30. All this is here on every NFL team the last 10 years. It's all up there, right there on your team page. And once again, when you click on the opponent, the last 22 years matchups pop up. This year will be the last 23 years. And we'll have these all updated after the first week of the season for the NFL. And that's when you could start using those. We have the AGG. I mentioned that the AGG, I'm going to be using them this year. You've got what they held opponents to. You can see the Browns defense was number one, holding opponents at 57 yards below their season average last year. And that's why they were so good spread-wise. But all that's available in the NFL as well. But let's get back to the FBS. Let's get back to the plays. And we're going to go with angle play number 2. And we're going to take a look at the California team against Auburn this week. And Auburn was super impressive last week. Hugh Freeze has upgraded the receiving core. Peyton Thorne looks like a better quarterback because of it. They blew out Alabama A&M 73-3. Use your half times. They're right here. This tells you they had 436 yards at the half, a 436, 138-yard edge. Use your box scores. Have they played Florida A&M? This tells you what Auburn has done against FCS opponents, and it's green means they won. But here, they don't cover. They're not playing in FCS, but I'm just telling you how to use these. And here's Alabama A&M. Now, it's different down here. This green, we pull over what they did. So if it's green, that means their opponent won. And same thing here. This means that they pretty much are 500 against the spread there. That's how you read the FCS. But we're not talking FCS right here. We're talking FBS versus FBS, and we're talking Auburn against California. Now, Cal last week opened up against UC Davis. It didn't look good. In fact, at the half, there was 14-13. They actually were outgained 234-109, outgained for the game by 23 yards, so they didn't look great in the game. However, that was an FCS opponent. They won by 18. And as we saw with Hawaii last week, I liked Hawaii over UCLA. And what we saw was that Hawaii didn't look good in an FCS team in their opener, but they were looking ahead to the next week's game, and Hawaii did very well in the next week's game last week against UCLA. Outplayed them greatly in the first half. But in this game, what I'm going to look at is let's take a look at the last 10 years and see how a team does. And Cal, as an away dog, is outstanding, 24-15. And you take away these over here, they're even better, 8-1, 11-1, 13-3, 14-6 as an away dog. And then most of that's under Wilcox. I think if you go back and take a look at Wilcox, he's 17-9. Flip to your magazine, look to your California page, go up to the coach's box, tells you what the away dog record is for Wilcox. Go ahead and look at it, 17-9. Now, last year, by the way, California is 7-0 as a non-conference away dog the last 10 years. Now, you have to do a little bit of work for that. You have to go to conference away dog here, in which they're 1-3, and then you come up top and you see how they do as an away dog 1-3. So that's 0-0, 1-2, and here you see 2-2. So that's 1-0 as a non-conference away dog. I did the work, 7-0. If you look here, away dog, they're 24-15. As a conference away dog, they are 17-15. So you could see 15 losses. They got 7 more wins. 7-0 is a non-conference away dog. I like that. And last year, these two played, California and Auburn. Let's go take a look at that. And we could see that California actually outgained Auburn 19-12, had a 273 to 230 yard edge. Auburn was really lucky to come out of there with the win last year. California outplayed them. Now Cal is getting 13 points on the road. So you got a great away dog. You got the fact that Cal played with them last year. This is when Wilcox does his best work, is as an away dog. We're going to take Cal plus 13 over Auburn as my angle play number 2. All right, let's go to my sandwich game of the week. Everybody likes sandwiches, huh? And this one, while it seems obvious, the spread's still pretty doggone favorable. You got Notre Dame, and they are taking on Northern Illinois. Now, Notre Dame had a massive game last week. They went to the wire. They got a late touchdown. Then they had another score, won by 10. It was a close game. If you go take a look here, the game was 13-13. Notre Dame scored with 1:54 to go. And then after a turnover, added a 46-yard field goal to win by 10. But it was a nail-biter. And Notre Dame won. I have Notre Dame in my top 10. I projected Notre Dame to make the playoff. And I felt if Notre Dame won this game, toughest game of the season, you look at the rest of their schedule, they'll be favored in all the rest of their games. That probably includes this USC game. Notre Dame's on a track for the playoff. Everybody patting them on the back. They've got a tough game against Purdue on deck. And one thing I want to show you about Purdue, which is sort of under the radar, nobody really noticed it. Purdue's quarterback, Hudson Card, 24 of 25, 96% last week. That tied an NCAA record for quarterbacks at over 20 passes. So Purdue is going to be a tough test for Notre Dame next week. So you're coming off this great game. You know Purdue is going to be a tough test next week. And now you're at home. You're over a 4 touchdown favorite, 28.5 point favorite. Or no, 28.5 point favorite against Northern Illinois. It is a letdown spot. So if you go to my schedule section, and the schedule is beautiful. When you go to Phil Steele Plus, go to the menu. I showed you how to get there. Hit this schedule with Power Ratings Forecasts, and then just click here. This tells you how to use everything. This tells you how to use every single column. Read it so you know what the columns are. I'll have all the records updated for you soon. I've been working on the tour. I've been working on the press box. I've been going through the play-by-play of all 97 games from last week, watching as many games as I have. I haven't got to update the records yet. I'll get to that. By the time you read this on Saturday, all the records will be updated. But this tells you an idea of how to use the tour and or how to use the schedule. And it's got all these different categories. This will definitely be a situation play, but the green is best bets. And this gives you a ton of best bets each week in different categories. Sometimes the best bets even disagree. It's up to your discretion. But you could see team met last year's score, power ratings, my preseason line, situation. Revenge was remarkable last year. Absolutely remarkable. I have the record up there for you. Last 4 weeks AGG, which of course is not really relevant right now. FPI, this is all up there for you each and every week on every game. Here's the final scores of the game, what the lines were. And I could go over here and show you, but I'm going to leave that for the Phil Steele Plus members. You can go down and get all that on this week's games, and then we color code them afterwards. So use the schedule, but this will be a schedule play because Northern Illinois has the scheduling advantage in this one. So let's go back to Phil Steele Plus. Let's go back to that Northern Illinois play. And something I want to show you on Northern Illinois, which makes it an even better play this week. We're going to take a look at the angles. And Hammond as an away dog. Look at this: 2-1, 3-0, 3-2, 2-1, 4-1. These guys are 6-2, 9-4, 12-4, 14-5 as an away dog. So you have a solid away dog team. If you read my magazine, you know I'm bullish on Northern Illinois. I think they have 36 seniors this year. They are a senior-laden team. They have played the big boys tough. Look, they upset Boston College last year. 2 years ago, they played Vanderbilt, or they went into Kentucky, only lost by 8. So they are a great away dog. You've got Notre Dame in a sandwich situation. You got Northern Illinois, a huge underdog. I'm going to take Northern Illinois plus 28.5 as the sandwich game. That's your fifth play. Let's get to your sixth selection. Then I'm going to get to those quick hitters. And there was a time last year, remember at the start of the year, those quick hitters were on fire. They were in like 70%. Like I said, right now they're a little above 50% over the last 9 weeks, but they could all of a sudden catch fire. So don't miss out on these quick hitters. But let's get to my final one, and I'm going to call it my high-scoring game of the week. And you guys know from inside the press box, I usually, the first year I had a high-scoring game of the week almost every game. Now I'm sort of selective with them. And last week I used a high-scoring game of the week, and it was on Ohio. And I really need to put Ohio on the right because they're the home team, Phil, and South Alabama on the left because they're the visitor. But this is going to be my high-scoring game of the week. Ohio is 57. The total is on this game. Let's take a look at it. Now, last week I used Ohio, and I was pulling my hair out, guys. There are what I call underdrives. When you go through a play-by-play, you will see underdrives. What's an underdrive? A 15-play drive that ends up in 3 or 0 points. Well, guess what? Ohio and Syracuse last week I used as a best bet on Inside the Press Box. I believe it was over, take a look here, it was over 47. And in the first half, let's go look at the box score here, and let's go look and see what happens. Take a look at the box score. Now, you could go through the play-by-play down here, the individual play-by-play. Naturally, I watched the game, and I was getting frustrated. Look at this. 13-play drive, field goal. 12-play drive, field goal. 7-play, 72-yard drive, field goal. They also had in this game a 60-play, 7-yard drive interception, 66-yard, 11-play drive stopped on downs. They had a 73, look, Syracuse went on a 73-yard, 17-play drive, took up 7 minutes, and it was a field goal. Those are underdrives, my friend, underdrives. But guess what? The game still went over the total. It went over the total with 60 points on the board, and the total was 47, went over by 2 touchdowns. Now they've only adjusted the line to 57. So what we've assumed, I know that Ohio's defense struggles in the first half of the year. This is what I pointed out in press box last week. Look at this. 2 years ago, they had an inexperienced defense, and in the first 6 games, look what they allowed. They allowed all those points and yards. And already this year, they allowed a lot of yards, 480, 354 yards passing. Well, South Alabama comes in with Gio Lopez. Now, Lopez started the bowl game last year. They put up 59 points against Eastern Michigan. And how do you know Lopez started the bowl game? You go here to individual player stats, and you look under who started the bowl game. It was Gio Lopez. We've got the individual player stats, by the way, all the way back. You could go back and do research to here, but if you're a fantasy football player, you want to know how teams do, how guys do on an individual basis. Here's their stats. Lopez threw for 432 yards last week, for crying out loud, and ran for 62. They have an explosive offense. They're going to score some points. Ohio moved the ball all over on Syracuse. Should have more than 22. Settled for too many field goals. But Anthony Tyus, 203 yards rushing. Parker Navarro looked good. So I think you got Ohio. Look at what South Alabama allowed last week. 550 yards to North Texas. So you've got 2 defenses that are iffy. You've got 2 offenses that are explosive. Why is this total 57? We're going to go with my high-scoring game of the week, over 57 in the Ohio-South Alabama game. Once again, last week, we get some value because Ohio-Syracuse should have probably been much higher scoring than that. They had 6 underdrives in one game. And by the way, Stephen Hartzell, if you're listening, every week I do let me go to it real quick while I'm talking here, though. Every week I do a video with Stephen Hartzell. It's going to be tough to get to that, but I'm going to get there. I'll find a way to get there. There we go. Let's click on there, and they should have it up right now. And check this out each week. Stephen Hartzell, Wayne Cook, one of my favorite shows right here, College Sports Now. Just go to my Twitter page, click on that. You get the entire, we break down all the big games for the week. They cover all the top 25 games. Now, these aren't necessarily my best plays, but if you're looking at any top 25 games, we cover them all right here on College Sports Now. So do click on that, watch it. Wayne and Steven are the best. But each week, Steven asks me for a game, and I usually go Mac on them. And we've had some great records throughout the years. First week, I went with Toledo over Duquesne. I, of course, also use that here on the tour. But and at the end of the thing, I didn't have a play ready for Steven. So he said, why don't you throw it on the tour? I'm throwing it on the tour, Steven. Here's your play. I'm using over in the Ohio South Alabama play. I'm going to call it my Steven Hartzell play because it's my under the radar, off the board type of game. And last week it won with Toledo over Duquesne. It was a nice solid winner. All right, let's get to those quick hitters. And I've got 4 of them for you. Now, one thing a lot of people don't realize, and the reason I want to put this one up here, first of all, I like South Carolina over Kentucky. I don't have a lot to show you why I like South Carolina over Kentucky other than the fact I had them a 3-point dog at the start of the year. My computer's got them losing by 6, and they're a double-digit underdog for crying out loud. But one thing I do want to show you, which you may not know, Kentucky, you look at this and you say, hey, they only ran 42 plays last week. Well, there's a reason they only ran 42 plays. If you click on the box score and you go through it, and I was going through the box score, and you get to the third quarter and you say, oh, they stopped doing the play-by-play? And here we are with the middle of the third quarter, 31-0 Kentucky. Guess what? The game was called. They didn't play the last quarter and a half of the game. So keep that in mind in your head during the year that while it was only 317 to 131, they only played 2.5 quarters. They didn't play the last 1.5 quarters. I wanted to show you that, let you know that the Kentucky game only was a quarter and a half or 2.5 quarters last year. But like I said, my preseason line was South Carolina. I like South Carolina in this game, so I'm throwing it in as a quick hitter, doggone it. Let's go to another quick hitter. We're going to take a look at Iowa against Iowa State. And when you look at Iowa State, I'm just going to pull up the Iowa page, and we're going to go click on the series history here. This is an under series, and jumps right out at you. Sort of like an Air Force Army type of thing. You got 2 great defensive teams, 2 teams that are very conservative when they play each other. Look at these final scores of the games. 17-2 to the under. Now, the total's 35. But look, last year the total was 36. This total was 39. So the Vegas has been adjusting, but it still goes under every year. And if you go back to last week and take a look at Iowa, at the half it was only 6-0. They put up a lot of points in the second half. So you still have 2 great defenses. You're going to have 2 conservative offenses. I like under 35 in the 35.5 in the Iowa State game. And I'll lean on Iowa as well. If you take a look here, you see that Iowa is actually 7-1 straight up in the series the last 8 years, and they're only a 2.5-point favorite at home. But my quick hitter is under 35.5. All right, let's take a look at Rutgers against Akron. And this is one where I'm going to call it put the hammer down. And what we're going to take a look, not so much Akron. I'm just going to go to Rutgers. And they're, of course, in the Big Ten. Click on Rutgers. A couple things I want to point out to you about Rutgers. Greg Schiano likes to put the hammer down. He's a really good home favorite. At least let's take a look at what he's done as a home favorite. 4-1, 6-1, 8-1 as a home favorite the last 3 years. That's a nice number, 8-1 as a home favorite. I didn't even have it marked down. But we're going to take a look at 3 games in particular. Let's take a look at the Howard game last week. Take a look at the box score. He scored a touchdown with no time left. I like that. I like coaches that do it. In fact, they scored with 4:16 left and then no time left to get to 44-7. And against Temple 2 years ago, or last year, I should say, Temple. The game is 19-7. You're in the fourth quarter, and you're wondering, is Rutgers going to cover? Guess what? Field goal, touchdown, 2:34 left. They went and put the hammer down. Now, Rutgers runs a physical offense. They run the football. They wear you down, and then break through late in the game. And I like that when you're trying to cover. And the number's only 23, which is very reasonable here. We're also going to take a look at the Wagner game. And when we take a look at Wagner here, Look at this. Rutgers scored with 13 seconds left in the game to get to 52-3. Coach Ciano believes in letting the backups go ahead and play. They're not throwing the ball. They're just running, but they wear you down, run, and score. So we got a great home favorite. They're only laying 23. Rutgers minus 23 is going to be my quick hitter play for put the hammer down. And the final one we're going to take a look at, it's another situational play. And this will be a situational play on the schedule. The schedule is going to have a ton of best bets for you. So if you are a Phil Steele Plus member, make sure you go to that schedule and get yourself a ton of plays. But let's go take a look at this matchup. We'll go to the team pages, and we're going to go to the Mountain West. We're going to go to Utah State. And then over here, we're going to go to USC. Now, USC is on a short week. And you talk about a letdown situation. That was a massive game against LSU. They needed a late touchdown. How late? Well, I'm sure you watched. But they scored with 8 seconds left to win by 7. So they score the final touchdown, win by 7. They have got a bye next week, but they still have Michigan coming up. They played on Sunday night, and now they're playing on a short week against Utah State. So it is a letdown situation for them. And the one thing I want to point out about Utah State, they had 2 quarterbacks, Petrus and Barnes. Bryson Barnes, of course, the pig farmer for Utah State, or for Utah last year. Remember, he was their quarterback all year. 2 things I want to point out. Petrus got injured. Barnes came in. And if we look at the box score, take a look at the second half for Utah State. Barnes did move the team and move the team well. Come up here a little bit. Here we go. Utah State. Take a look at the second half. Touchdown, punt, field goal, touchdown, touchdown, field goal. So you have 5 scores, 6 possessions. Barnes a quarterback. Here's something sneaky about this game, which you might not realize. Let's go take a look at Utah last year. And Utah, of course, played UCLA. And once again, this is where the individual player stats really come in handy. Let's take a look at the individual player stats. How did Barnes do against USC last year? How about 14 of 23 for 235 yards, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception? And, by the way, Utah beat USC on the road as an underdog. So Barnes has played the USC defense, knows the USC defense, did well in the second half. We got the pig farmer here going against USC in a situation play. I'm going to take Utah State plus 28 and a half against USC. Guys, I can't tell you enough. Get this Phil Steele Plus. Take $10 off. I showed you the code earlier. Get my press box. It's me against the computer. And let's have another doggone winning week. 30-14 over the last 9 weeks for these Phil Steele Plus plays. I put a lot of work, a lot of effort into them. Let's hope we have a nice big winning week. And let's get the quick hitters rolling as well. 6 selections, 4 quick hitters, 1 NFL play for you as well. And I'd like to thank you for taking the Phil Steele Plus tour with me this week. I probably could have showed you a little more on the thing, like the last 40 years results where you go back to 76. I just didn't get to it this week. I will next week. Thank you for taking the Phil Steele Plus tour.